Wie wichtig ist der
It's important.
Good evening and welcome to Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohenba, McKeown. It's the eve of Christmas and tomorrow is Christmas. Merry Christmas to you in advance, and you're watching Sports World. Today we have a lot on our table. It's the AFCON. The AFCON has already started, and already the first group stage matches have been played gradually. The first step of separating the boys from the men have already started, and what a way to start the tournament when Morocco played against Comoros in the first game of the tournament. Other games have been played. Today is the last day that the first round of games will be played. Currently, the Ivory Coast are playing their game, and they are currently drawing in that particular game against Mozambique. Sorry, they've scored one. Ahmed Diallo has scored in that particular game. So we'll be doing a review of the games that have been played so far in the African Cup of Nations 2025. Then we'll speak to Chris Katos, who is a Nigerian sports journalist, gets more in-depth analysis about how Nigeria fared against Tanzania and how they are going to prepare for their next game. Then we'll go to the Bafana camp, where South Africa beat Angola by 2-1. They'll be playing against Egypt in their next game. We'll be taking more perspective from there. Then we come home to Ghana Focus. We'll be doing Ghana Sports in Review 2025. What was your biggest sporting moment? Which one can't you ever forget? We'll be bringing you unforgettable memories of what happened in 2025. My name is James Ohenba McKeown. I'll be doing this with Eugene, Ofori. So remember, this show is powered by Betway, and they are saying share your codes with your friends. It doesn't matter if they lose or they win, you get 4% of their wager. We go for a break. When we come back, Eugene, Ofori, Sottie will take over. Stay tuned.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Welcome back from the break. I'm still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohenba McKeown, and I have Eugene Ofori Sottie here. He's back fully fit. He wasn't fit from the weekend. I don't know where he went during the weekend that he got very weak like that. Monday he was still weak. Tuesday, so it's Sottie, are you fit? Are you fit? I don't know what happened over the weekend. But are you fit? What happened?
No,
I'm
not much fit.
You're not much fit.
I'm fit enough for training, but I'm not much fit.
Okay.
But
are you speaking in parables?
No, for the no. We are sports people, so we have to use them. So yeah, and hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, I'll gain some competitive match fitness in order to start regularly.
Yeah. I get your point. Hopefully that will be done.
Yeah.
I hope AFCON 2025 has already started.
Yeah.
First of all, before we delve deep into all the games, give me your general assessment. First of all, about the opening ceremony and the few games that have been played so far.
First of all, because the nation's broadcaster has refused to broadcast the AFCON matches, and because our players also decided not to qualify, watching has very difficult. If you don't have DSTV, it means that you have to do so via the online streams, which is capital intensive for our pockets, and you know, sometimes for the internet service providers, those that are cheaper to access or are affordable, the networks aren't good enough, and the ones who have good network aren't affordable. So we always plays with some dilemma. However, I must say the opening ceremony was brilliant. I think it displayed the culture, and I think it gave me some reminiscence of the 2022 World Cup that Qatar hosted. Brilliant opening. I think the last 3 AFCON opening ceremonies have been brilliant. I think what Cameroon delivered was exceptional. What the Ivory Coast also delivered was excellent, and I think Morocco stepped it a notch higher. And I think the ambience from the Moroccans was good. But I think in terms of the general broadcasting quality, the commentary and everything is good. But I think the problem is the general
attendance.
Apart from even the attendance, the AFCON ambience and the energy, I think it's the problem with the Moroccans. They can always give us all the facilities. But if you want the look and feel of the AFCON, I think you can only get it in West Africa.
Yeah.
Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Ghana, in Nigeria, we can deliver the AFCON energy. But and after the pitches, I'm sure the Cameroonians and the Ivorians would deliver that, and they were able to give us a complete AFCON experience. I think for the Moroccans, that's the challenge. They can give us the look and feel in terms of the pitches, the infrastructure, aesthetically pleasing. But what makes African football what it is, I think that small detail is what is missing from this AFCON.
Whatever you said still comes back to the attendance.
Yes,
you get that feel and energy.
Yes, once people are many. Yes.
I think in the Benin game against DR Congo, at a point in time there were about only 3,000 spectators.
Exactly.
They had to open free gates. For people to come in.
So when CAF was talking about when they were starting the registration for the Yala app, it was almost full. I was just laughing because I knew it. That one, the way African systems work, our transportation systems makes it very difficult for people to go through countries. For example, now there's no direct way apart from a flight. There's no way you could move from Ghana and get to Morocco. Means you have to go through Europe. And even in order to go through it's difficult. You have to go through either the Ivory Coast into Mali, find a way, or you could go through Senegal. It's not too clear, and it's cumbersome. Even leaving Ghana to Togo, sometimes if you're not careful, it's difficult. And even try from Ghana to the Ivory Coast, it's not easy. The things you have to go through, the bureaucratic processes, the frustrations you face from migration, and the fees that they charge, it makes it very difficult to even travel within in Africa, even in West Africa. I think that's one of the things the Europeans have been able to have a hangover. It's easy to move from England to France, England to Germany. You could go through 3 countries in less than 3 hours. A train just goes and brings you back, and there's not a lot of bureaucracy. I think that's what we need to work on, and finances as well. It doesn't make financial. Watch even Black Stars games. When you charge a ticket above 100 cities, watch how many people genuinely pay for those tickets. It tells about our general economic standards, and I think as for that one, unless CAF does its free gate, we might never get that look and feel in North Africa because of how even the immigration to the country is.
All right, so let's move on to business, and we are still on the talking point. Sottie, Nigeria played their game yesterday against Tanzania. It was an interesting one. Ademola Lookman scoring to give the Super Eagles the maximum points in that particular one. Your general assessment and take us to Qatar.
Well, it was almost as if it was business as usual. They got the job done. They got a customary win over Tanzania, but the only problem was that it wasn't really an emphatic win. At a point, it looked like Tanzania were even getting a draw in that particular game. And so I think that was the challenge with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So we'll go to Zoom and try and speak to Chris Katos, who is an international sports journalist who speaks to the Nigerian perspective. Hello, sir. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry it's late right now, and I'm driving the streets of Lagos. Like, it's dead in December here in Lagos. You keep moving when you can move.
Well, it's good that for the first time in a long while, you are no longer in Houston, Texas, US, but you are here in West Africa, Nigeria. Well, first off, before you go into business, how is Nigeria treating you?
Well, it was just the first game, though. For me to get, I was a little bit disappointed the way the team played because I felt that they lacked cohesion. But come on, for Christ's sake, this is a team that have been together trying to qualify for the World Cup and did not make it. So to a large extent, they have played together before. They should be playing more as a team than individual football. Regardless of who won the game, I just felt the defense was a little bit like a tactical when it comes to approaching the attackers. They let a new ball slip, and that's how the Tanzanian scored us. They got sleeping, and they chipped that goal from them through us running the defense and scoring. So going forward, I think if Nigeria plays a team like Tunisia, it might be very difficult. We saw Tunisia dominating Uganda yesterday, 3-1 in formidable fashion. So when Nigeria plays a better team, then we can really test the test of how good the Super Eagles are or how ready they are for this AFCON.
Well, it wasn't a three-star performance, but it was a performance that was good enough to merit all the 3 points. You play Tunisia next, but before Tunisia, let's review the performance of the team. Shemi Ajayi, the defender who scored the opening goal from a cross from Alexander Iwobi, was awarded the player of the match. What do you make of his performance on the night alongside Calvin Bassey in that two-man centre-back pairing?
Yeah, Ajayi has always been solid when playing for Nigeria. We know that he's a very good defender. He's very calm. He's very calculated. He reminds me of the old-time number 5 Nigeria once have, Uche Okechukwu. They're big, slow, cool, and calculated. So him scoring that goal is beautiful for me and for him too, because I know that made it the second time he's ever scoring for the Super Eagles. So it's good to have that in part of his career. It's good to have that in part of his belt.
Well, let's talk about your midfield. Yesterday, Alexander Iwobi, he played a key role in ensuring stability in the team. He's a player that has come under a lot of attack because of his output in the Premier League with Arsenal, with Everton, with Fulham. Great player by all standards. Sometimes he doesn't get good games in the Super Eagles team. Yesterday, though, he got an assist and helped to ease up the pressure that was on the Super Eagles of Nigeria. What do you make of his performance in yesterday's game?
Yeah, it was excellent. Like, if you check the rating, I think he had like 99 or 98 pass accuracy yesterday. So it shows that he was amazing yesterday, the way he flipped the balls, his passes. You know, I think he would assist as well, too. So Iwobi has always been that player that we know from time have the ability to be a good 10, because we all know his uncle, J.J. Okocha. You know, so we always wish it was being the DNA. But the fact that he's picking up now, is picking up that responsibility, is picking up that leadership quality in the middle. I'm very happy that he's come of age to do that. I was impressed yesterday for him.
Well, away from Iwobi, away from the defense, let's look at the forward line. Akko Adams started the game and later on was replaced by Moses Simon. Samuel Chukwueze started the game. He didn't end the game. What do you make of the laterals in terms of attack you use? We know that traditionally the Super Eagles, one of your most important set of players are your wingers. They help in the build-up for your games, but they didn't have really good games. Chukwueze had a few chances he could have converted. Akko Adams was a lot on the ball, but wasn't really a potent threat. What do you make of your wingers that started the game?
Yeah, I felt they played very well. The only person I was kind of a little bit disappointed was Moses Simon when he came on. I thought he just handled the ball way too much. He would have released the ball way more. But Akko Adams, we know he's that player that, you know, he's still new in the Super Eagles, but he's that player that has shown class, has shown quality. When we're trying to his wonderful goals, he scored. I know he scores in the Spanish team in Spain as well, too. So being him and Osim has always been more like the dream pair, although they haven't finally gelled together as a pair, but that's like a dream pair because of the kind of flair he has. And Osim being the outright nine that just want to push and score goals.
Well, let's look at the striking role. But before that, we know that the various superstars are beginning to register their names on the score sheet. We know for Egypt, yesterday, Umar Mamouche scored, Mohamed Salah scored. For Algeria, Riyad Mahrez scored the brace. For Senegal, Nicolas Jackson was on the score sheet. For Morocco, Ayoub El Kabi and Brahim Diaz also scored for them. And earlier today, when the Ivory Coast, who are currently playing as well, Amad Diallo has also scored for them. Even for the Super Eagles, Ademola Lookman, with all his struggles, also scored for the Super Eagles. However, the most important player currently, Victor James Osimhen, isn't yet on the score sheet. hasn't registered a goal contribution yet. How is it going for him?
Well, it's just the first game. You can't judge him so much right now. But Osimhen kind of get a good account of himself yesterday. So if you watch the game, he had a bicycle kick that the keeper saved. That would have been one of the best goals of this tournament. So, he has that play. It's dangerous. It's that striker that, every defender feels his presence. Without him scoring goals, you see him running. You see him marking. You see him contributing, playing as a team player. So I know definitely goals will come. He's never been shy of scoring goals. He actually scored a goal that was disallowed, so he actually scored. It just didn't count. So Osimhen, I think, is going to have a good tournament. He's hungry. He's someone that wants to score goals at all costs. So players like that always find a way to score.
Well, let's look at your laterals in defense. We know Ola Aina is out of the AFCON due to injury. He's been replaced in the starting lineup at the right back by Bright Osayi Samuel. What do you make of his performance yesterday evening?
Well, Bright Osayi, naturally, as a person, has always been a very confident player. So when he started playing for the Super Eagles, he's also exhibit that confidence when attacking from the left, from the defense down to the attack. He's that defender that likes to take risks. He's that defender that wants to go forward and want to score. So it's a player you want to have in your team due to his flexibility and mobility. If we're able to run towards the attack and also defend at the same time, he's one of those players that we know he has qualities. And so far, I was impressed the way he played yesterday.
Well, then let's go to the left back position, which gave a lot of Nigerians a bit of hesitation. Zaidi Sanusi started the game, and we know as well at the left back slot there's a player like Bruno Onyemaichi who also can debutize for him. A lot of people were not really confident about Zaidi Sanusi, even though he's a good player with Porto in the Portuguese league. What do you make of his performance yesterday night, and going forward into the game against Tunisia? Are you really confident that Zaidi Sanusi can do the job against the Tunisian attack?
Well, honestly, for me, to be honest, I've never been a fan of Zaidi Sanusi because I really don't like the way he plays, to be honest. But if you really want to check on how the team has been shaped all through the qualifiers for the World Cup and also the qualifiers for the Nations Cup, you can see that there's nobody to really play in that position. Like, if he doesn't play, who's going to play it? You know what I mean? So he just has to play. But yesterday, we just played Tanzania, for Christ's sake. Tanzania is not a team that we should be paying ourselves about. We should play in the The true test is going to come against Tunisia. That's when I can truly really see rate their performance individually in the game.
Well, that takes us to the Tunisia game. Traditionally for Tanzania, you get good results again there. But Tunisia presents a different test in itself. Yesterday, Tunisia beat Uganda by 3-1, an emphatic victory from the Catholic Eagles there. Heading to this game, the last time both teams met at the AFCON, you were dealt a heavy blow. At the time in 2022, Nigeria had won all the group stage games in that group, were heavy favorites to win the AFCON, just as they entered the round of 16. Tunisia, who were a less fancy side at the time, edged the Super Eagles out. It's a new Catholic Eagles team. They've got younger players. They're in the rebuilding stage. Yusuf Insakni, who was a key player in that game, is no longer with the team. They now have players like Skiri and then Hannibal Mejbri and other players there. What do you make of the chances of the Super Eagles against the Catholic Eagles?
Well, it's going to be a great test. Well, we all know that Nigeria naturally have it difficult when they play Northern African teams. There have always been a huge test for Nigeria to play. Anytime they play, being Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt is always going to be difficult. So going to that game, I already believe that the players will have a different kind of mentality, a mentality whereby they want to go conquer and win, because they will just have to play with like Tanzania. Tanzania was more like a test run. That's why, honestly, I was kind of happy we played Tanzania in the first game, because when you go to a new tournament, you want to set into the tournament before the tournament starts setting. Just that some teams make mistakes early in the tournament that affects them when they start picking up their form. So that's why your first 3 points in tournaments is very important. It's good for you mentally, it's good for you in your psyche as well too, to keep going forward. So that is a boost, but the real test is Tunisia. So when time we play Tunisia, it's going to be difficult, but I think Nigeria might just edge them out a little bit, even if the Tunisians have shown how dangerous they can be going forward and how good they are as a team so far.
Well, Tunisia also have very good players. Nigeria has excellent players and even better players if you are going to compare them. However, let's look at the management of the team. The team is led by Eric Shell, that's the Super Eagles team. How would you rate him so far in the tournament? I know you would say Tanzania is just a walk in the park for Super Eagles, but when you rate his in-game management yesterday, Nigeria took the lead, then Tanzania equalized in less than 2 minutes. Ademna Lukman restored the lead for the Super Eagles. Generally, if you look at his game management, how would you rate him?
Yeah, well, so far it's settling down. I just, as I said initially, I've never been a big fan of him, but he's coaching Super Eagles for now. And to be honest, let's be really honest, he's not really had a bad record in terms of games. He's won more games than he has been in charge than any other coach that come to replace him all this while. So if they keep him, maybe he can have more time to settle in, and maybe, who knows, can be able to create a formidable team going forward.
Well, before we go, let's look at the group: Nigeria, Tunisia, Uganda, in Tanzania. Realistically, what teams would you predict going into? I'm sure you would say Nigeria and possibly Tunisia. Is this a group which you think can be very open, or you believe it's just Nigeria and Tunisia that are making it as automatic teams to the next stage?
I think it can be open because, soccer is soccer right now is never say die, never underrate any team. We beat Tanzania yesterday, but it wasn't easy for the Super Eagles to beat Tanzania. So I don't think any team qualifying for the Nations Cup, literally it's a pushover. By name, yes, I know that you expect a lot from bigger teams like Cameroon, like Nigeria, like, or Egypt. But at the same time, smaller teams can beat them as well, too. So from game one, regardless of the score, I think the group is still super open because any team that clicks now and wins the next two games definitely is going through to the next round.
Well, thank you very much, Chris Katos. But before we go, how is Nigeria treating you?
Well, it's amazing, man. It's a place that never sleeps. So I'm in Lagos right now, and I'll be off to another state again tomorrow, Benin. I just want to enjoy myself and see. I'm testing heat a little bit more.
well, thank you very much, Chris, and all the best to you in your little vacation in Nigeria.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. So that was Chris Katos. He's an international sports journalist. Usually he joins us from Houston, Texas, in the U.S., but tonight he joins us from his home nation of Nigeria, from Lagos. There he spoke to us about the Nigerian perspective. Nigeria won their first game by 2-1 against the Tanzanian opponents. It wasn't a vintage performance, but it was good enough to guarantee them all 3 points, which they need in order to progress to the next stage of the competition. Their next game is against the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia. So the Super Eagles face the Carthage Eagles. That will be a very huge and keenly contested game, and we hope to see how that goes. He predicts that Nigeria would have a good run over them. He believes that Nigeria will edge it over their Tunisian counterparts. Well, away from the Super Eagles, we would head into other conversations, but I'm still joined with James McKeown.
It was an interesting conversation. I enjoyed with you and Katos in there. Nigeria were in the final in the last edition of the AFCON, where they were beaten by the Ivory Coast by a goal. That's goal by Sebastian Haller. Denied them of their 4th trophy in terms of the African continent. But before we move on to South Africa to speak with Ben Rikozo, let's do a short review of the other games that were played. First of all, Morocco played against Comoros in that very first game. Morocco seemed a bit nervous in the start, but then they were able to get their first goal through Brahim Diaz, and that's goal from Ayub El Kabi.
Yeah, a brilliant goal. But first off, after watching the first half, I think I agreed with Stefano Kuzi. I think we just played his interview before we came live on set. In that exclusive interview he granted us, I think he said Morocco will be under pressure to win the opening game, and they'll be under pressure to win the AFCON. And I think right from the onset, you could tell there was pressure on them. Within the first 5 minutes, you could see the crowd getting jittery, and then their voices getting louder, calling for the first goal. And I think it tarried. They even got a penalty within the first few minutes, and then Rahimi missed that, and I think that compounded the pressure on them. But I think all in all, they were able to gather themselves and get the much needed win. I think it's interesting to see where this Moroccan team goes, because I believe you me, I think this Moroccan team is not operating at full steam yet. Because remember, Yusuf El Nesri came into the game later on, And it was surprising to me two things that Walid Regragui did. Usually for Morocco, their first choice striker is Yusuf El-Nesri. The backup striker is Ayoub El-Kabi. Barely do these two players play together, so it's always a like-for-like replacement. Yusuf starts, Ayoub replaces him. Then guess what? On the opening day, both players are on the bench, and then we see Brahimi and then Brahim Diaz as the player starting the game, which was quite surprising to me. But I think it was the opening game, and then they needed to register. I'm sure both players had just joined the team, and so they were not really match fit. Also know that also a player like Ashraf Hakimi isn't yet at full steam as well. So once this few players get into the starting 11, then Morocco now operates at full steam. Their next game will be against Mali. Mali as well didn't do too well. They drew against Zambia, and they had to come. If you watch the game, even though Mali took an early lead, Mali had so many chances to have taken the result to like a 4-1.
I think
Sinayoko missed the chance.
It's always synonymous with Mali. They get their chances in the game, but at the end of the day, the most important thing, they are not able to do it.
Also, you could also say for the Malian team, they are also not operating at full steam. Remember that Amadou Haidara is their first choice midfielder. Yves Bissouma is their first choice midfielder. So on a good day, we know the Malian midfield would have Aliou Dieng of Al Ahly, Yves Bissouma of Tottenham Hotspur, and then Amadou Haidara, who also coincidentally was announced that he's moved from RB Leipzig to Chelsea. So these three are usually their starting choice midfielders. Guess what happened? Haidara didn't start the game. Bissouma also, we know he isn't really fit. So Mamadou Sangare, which is RC Lens, so he'll be a teammate of Haidara at the moment. And so it meant that they had to go into the game with a relatively new midfield, and so they had to adjust into a new tournament with new set of players. I think that's what caught them off a little bit. However, I think the attack had a lot of chances to have converted, and they failed to. I think El Bilal Touré will look at performance on the day, and it's most likely something he will have to quickly forget, and then try and get an impressive performance in the next few games. Remember that he missed the penalty. In fact, the goal Haidara scored later on, it was a chance he had to have scored. He flubbed the slice before Haidara got that. The other strikers within the ranks there, so if El Bilal Touré is not pulling his weight, I'm sure Coach Tom Savet has other players he could look through within the ranks. Zambia, they didn't do too well. They took their one chance they had in the game. So I think Zambia's next game is against Comoros. I think that's where it could blow this game into the open. Because if Morocco beats Mali, it means Morocco has ensured automatic qualification to the next slot. It means that the group becomes wide open. Morocco, Mali, Comoros, and Zambia. It blows the group wide open. So maybe for the next game, Mali would have to try and avoid defeat, or do the audacious and get a win against Morocco.
Let's move on to the next group. And one interesting game that I really enjoyed was that game between Bafana of South Africa and also the Pelangas Negras of Angola. That game ended 2-1 in favor of South Africa. Also, Apolli scored in the 21st minute, so equalized for Angola. Then Lai Foster of Burnley scored in the 79th minute. Were you surprised? For me, I think that the game was an end-to-end affair. I really enjoyed it. This
game could have tilted anywhere, and I think South Africa were more dominant than Angola. Angola sat back and picked and chose which moments to attack and show up. I think they did so well with their approach to the game, and I think the only thing Angola needs to work on is their cohesiveness, especially at the back. I think that's what holds them back. I think they're an impressive unit. Usually for South Africa, Lau Foster, he's a big player, a big name player, but he barely shows up for the Bafana. So I think it was huge for me that Lau Foster on the opening game when South Africa needed him most showed up, and I think that's good for him. The last AFCON he missed out because of a mental health breakdown he had, and so it's good that his return, he makes a comeback with a huge statement, providing that much needed winner. Also South Africa, they were good, but I think the opening game the teams are now getting used to the pitches and the general team chemistry, because a lot of these players are also new players in the team. players like Tembas and Pesita, who were key players in the last AFCON, are no longer there. So they are new. As I told you, even the striker Lafoster was in at the AFCON squad as well. So it means there are about 3-4 players who are now in the starting 11 who are not used to each other. So they are now trying to build that. So increasingly, we are seeing a lot of the smaller teams putting up impressive performances. And I dare say, apart from Botswana, who so far haven't justified why they are the AFCON, so far even Zimbabwe did a good job.
Against Egypt.
Zimbabwe have done a good job. Even Mozambique, brilliant. I think every team so far has justified their inclusion at the AFCON.
That game between the Ivory Coast and Mozambique has ended just now. So Ivory Coast won that game by a goal to Ahmed Diallo, scoring in the 49th minute to give the Elephants of Ivory Coast the 3 points in that particular group. The next game that is upcoming is between the Cameroon and also Gabon.
The indomitable Lions.
Of Cameroon. Let's see how that one
Shout out to our big man, Lawrence Nkede. And you know, he'll be on TV in Cameroon, their main TV station. When our state broadcasters refused to show it,
you didn't qualify
Cameroon's state broadcaster. No, that argument doesn't hold.
It holds. Did you qualify?
When was the last time Togo qualified for an AFCON?
No.
That's simple. When was the last time Togo qualified for an AFCON?
New World TV and TVT are international organizations.
No, I am saying
GTV is just only for Ghana.
No, TVT. No, let me not go there.
TVT and New World TV, they are international companies.
New World, yes. TVT. TVT is the state this thing for Togo.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's GTV. So that's Togo's version of GTV.
They say you are not paying your TV license.
No. If Togo didn't qualify for, when was the last time Togo qualified for AFCON? I don't remember. Yet they are showing AFCON in Togo. Ghana. This is the first time we've not qualified.
Maybe they are paying their TV license. You are not paying.
I just came from Togo, and I know for sure that most of them even don't use that. They use this. I'll try and get the name of the. So it's just like our DSTV. They have Canal Plus. Most of them use Canal Plus over there. They barely even use the main one there. But well, away from that, let's leave our state broadcaster. They failed us woefully.
Senegal beat Botswana by 3-0. Nicolas Jackson scoring 2 goals in there. DRC scored Benin by a goal. Something happened in that game. The VAR was not working at the stadium. Benin felt that they had an opportunity. Now the referee feels, let me go and have a look at the VAR. He went there and the thing is not working.
Yeah, the general was right to be. He was very much upset in the post-match press conference, and I think these are the things that will make the Europeans get us. But I think apart from that, we've got and you see, I think that's part of the agenda setting of the Europeans. So far, apart from that incident call, VAR has been very much timely and has got a lot of the decisions spot on. So the first time something goes wrong, then we put all the blame there. Meanwhile, we know in the Premier League, referees keep on getting decisions so wrong, and almost every week, the PGOML is issuing apologies to clubs. Remember how they issued an apology to Frank Lampard when Everton was battling relegation at the time, and some decisions had gone against them. So many situations of the sort. Yet, because one thing has gone wrong, then they take an opportunity to set that negative and tag on the AFCON. But I think General was right to be upset, and especially because it ended just by a goal. If it was 4-0, I'm sure the argument would have changed for Benin, because then the argument wouldn't have necessarily held. But 1-0 meant that it looked as if things could have been improved. But I think DR Congo themselves, they're also setting the tone for the performances, because I think DR Congo have very good players, especially in attack. Fiston Mayele is the CAF Interclub player of the year. They've got Cedric Bakambu and a host of other players, Meshak Elia as well, and Bongonda who scored the goal. I think they have about 5 good attackers, and I think the problem with this Sebastian Desabre, their head coach, is that he usually does a like-for-like sub instead of the...
Not to cut you, the game between Cameroon and Gabon will kick off very soon, and this is the lineup for both nations. Well, I would like you to take us to the Cameroon lineup.
Guess what has just happened? When we spoke to Lawrence Nkede at the last week, he told us about the fact that the skipper for the Indomitable Lions was who? Brian Mbemo. Guess who is the captain now? Nuhu Tolo. So it looks like common sense has prevailed now. The Indomitable Lions of Cameroon's first squad list for the 2025 AFCON, their opening game against Gabon in Group F, comes out. Goalkeeper Davis Epasi, as usual, as expected, makes it in the post. For the centre-back pair, we've got Chamada and Shea Malone. Nuhu Tolo is at left back. Brian Mbemo makes his AFCON debut today against Gabon. Yongwa Namaso and Carlos Baliba, as well as Ato Avom, with Koto and Carl Eta Young leading the line for the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Means that Christian Kofane is on the bench, as well as Frank Magri. So a new coach, David Pagu, restores the old order. He trusts Carl Eta Young, who is with Levante in the La Liga, to lead the line for Indomitable Lions, with Davis Epasi as the goalkeeper. The most experienced player in this squad now is Nuhu Tolo, who is going to his third AFCON with the Indomitable Lions. For Gabon, goalkeeper Mbaba, Oyono, Musunda, Imanga, Banyama, Poko, Ekomi, Dennis Bwanga, Indong, and Dami and Openda leading the line for the Indomitable Lions. For the Panthers of Gabon, it means that, as you already know, skipper of the Gabonese side, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, is out of this game due to injury, and so the centre-back Manga leads the team as the skipper for the night. Remember that Cameroon and Gabon met in the intercontinental playoffs, and how did that end? Things didn't end very well for the Indomitable Lions. Gabon won that game before finally losing the next game. So it's interesting to see. Yes, it's interesting to see how just less than a month ago both teams met, how they'll fare in this game. Certain key players from that team are no longer there. For example, for Cameroon, there was Andre Onana, there was Michael Lingadio, there was a couple of other players, about 5-6 players who were in that team, who are no longer in the team at the moment. The midfield for the Indomitable Lions rest on the shoulders of Carlos Baleba, who also coincidentally makes his AFCON debut tonight, as well as Atu Avom as well. So it's quite an interesting lineup from both teams. A lot of key players missing from this lineup. We'll see how that goes for both teams, who kick off their game in less than 30 minutes from now.
All right, since they are about to kick off, remember earlier today there were some games that were played in the African Cup of Nations. Burkina Faso took on Equatorial Guinea and they beat them by 2-1. Equatorial Guinea took the lead. Burkina Faso scored 2 late goals to get all the maximum points in that particular group. And then Algeria also played against Sudan, Akosiapia Sudan. Akosiapia Sudan. Riyad Mahrez, please wait. Riyad Mahrez scored a brace in that particular game. Then Ibrahim Maza also added another one. I know also this is about to say. Now you can see.
Oh, I was just going to say that I think Sudan was humbled, and it got me thinking, how did this?
But they humbled you. The reason you didn't go to the
Ghana qualify for this?
That shows your level.
No, because I was looking at this Sudan team.
Even at the Accra Sports, he decided, Kusiapia decided to draw with you guys because he's from Ghana. Again.
Kudus had an empty pole. But I'm happy for a player like Ibrahim Maza. Maza is one of those players who just joined the Algerian team. He's eligible to represent Germany and also as well as Algeria through his parents. So he plays for Bayer Leverkusen in the German Bundesliga, a new player in the team. Very humble lad, willing to learn, willing to get himself dirty and try and work hard for the team. And on his AFCON debut, he scores a goal. That's good for him. Baghdad Bunija played for 90 minutes.
He was the one saving them in the last half.
So for a player like Bunija, he just needs his first goal. Once Bunija gets his first goal, the rest will just follow. For me, Bunija is a player I would love to meet one day. He is the embodiment of Algeria at the AFCON. When you talk about Algeria at the AFCON, Bunija is the guy. When Algeria went all the way to the final, Bunija was that guy who literally held the hand of the rest of the team and dragged them across the finish the line. He's advanced in age now, but for a striker, perfect for the job. He's an in-the-box striker. Once he's in the box and you feed him, he will deliver. I think today his opponents marked him out of the game. The Sudanese defense, even though they conceded a lot of goals, they did very well in terms of man marking him out of the game. So if you realize, the first goal unsettled them because we had just begun the game. Before they could shape out and strategize, they had considered the first goal. And I think that consequently made them open up, and then they considered the rest of their goals.
When was the year that Algeria won the AFCON?
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Great. Since 2019, this is the first time that Algeria has won
a match. So coincidentally, Algeria and Ghana have the same record. The only thing is that Algeria has now qualified for the AFCON. Ghana has not qualified. Ghana exited from the AFCON. So at the round of 16, 2019, Algeria won the AFCON. Yeah. Now we all came to the AFCON 2021, and Algeria were defending champions. They were humbled in the group round. Equatorial Guinea, Ivory Coast, and Sierra Leone. Yeah. I've not forgotten that game. Yeah. They couldn't beat Sierra Leone. They couldn't beat Equatorial Guinea, and Ivory Coast beat them. So in that group, yes, in that group, I think Ivory Coast and Equatorial Guinea progressed as the top two teams. I think Algeria was last. At the last AFCON as well, Ghana and Algeria went into the AFCON, and both teams exited once again at the group stage of the AFCON. I think the only thing that saved Ghana was that Ghana went to the last World Cup. Algeria did not qualify. Guess what? Algeria didn't perform at the AFCON earlier in the year. In the qualifiers to the World Cup against Cameroon, things went south. They were leading under Jamal Belmadi. They thought they were going to qualify to the World Cup. They started delaying, and then God being so good, about 15 seconds to end the game, Kautoko Ekambi equalized, and based on the away goal rule, Cameroon qualified to the World Cup. So I think if you check our last three major tournaments, Ghana has been to the AFCON twice. We've missed this, but we're at the World Cup. Algeria missed the last World Cup, and then at the last two AFCONs as well, they have performed poorly. So now they've had one of us. We were at the last World Cup. They were at the World Cup. They are this year's AFCON. We are not at the AFCON, but we both will meet at the World Cup next year in the USA, Canada, and Mexico.
Interesting. Remember in that particular game, Riyad Mahrez scored a brace in there, and he has now become the oldest player to score a brace in the AFCON, a record that has stood since 1998. He's 34 years old, and he scored a brace in that particular game. So that'll be all for the talking points on AFCON 2025. But as the show progresses, we'll bring you up to speed in that game between Cameroon and Gabon. We'll go for a breather. When we come back, we'll delve straight to Ghana Focus, looking at the higher moments in Ghana sports in 2025. Remember, this show is powered by Betway. Stay tuned.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Playing for your country, enye easy. Scoring, enye easy. Winning, enye easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Aye easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted groundnuts. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohenba McKeown. If you missed the early parts of the show, we just did a review of the African Cup of Nations 2025, where we looked at the opening games that were played in each of the group. Now we head to Ghana Focus, and today on Ghana Focus we are looking at the sporting moments in 2025 in terms of Ghana sports. We are just sending you back to what happened from January till now in terms of Ghana sports. But before we delve deep into that, let me ask Sottie his high moments in Ghana sports in 2025.
High moments, I think the Black Queens winning bronze at the AFCON. I think there was a point in time where Rashid Saminu was one of the fastest people in the world. I think he was the fastest in the world at a point for about a month or two before he now dropped into the top 3. So I think those were the proudest moments for me.
Not when Ghana qualified to the World Cup.
No, because it was sackable offense not qualifying to the AFCON, which has cost me. McKeown, I should have been with you today. I should have been in Morocco, coming to you live from.
We should have
been in fact, we should have been doing the show from Morocco. Maybe you would have been in Marrakesh, I'd have been in faraway Fez or Rabat or somewhere, and we would have been doing a very nice show from Morocco. Here we are talking about Botswana at the AFCON.
Please, you've gone past that stage. I'm talking about sports in review.
So for me, my highlights of the year were in athletics, and then football, the female side, and something to forget for me was our national team failing to qualify to our berth in the AFCON. And I think every moment, every time an AFCON game is played, you should see a press statement from GFA apologizing to us. And it's surprising that Kurt is there as the second vice president. He's not ashamed that his national team is there, taking pictures with people.
No, he's working. He's working there. I think he's the head of one of the.
Oh, I know.
So he's working.
I started the sentence by I didn't say GFA president. I said CAF second vice president.
So he needs to be there.
The Nigerians also didn't qualify to the World Cup, and their president was in USA
for the draw.
And he was even more active than Kurt. No, African football.
It's very interesting. Very fun. All right. So here at ABC Sports, we did our best to at least remember all the things that happen in Ghana sports, the most important one. So first of all, let's start off. Let's have the first graphics on the high moments in Ghana sports, a review. So there we go. This one is a sad one. So we literally started the year in a very sad note. Francis Yao-Frimpong, popularly known as Poli, a prominent fan and communications team member for Ghana's Asante Kotoko Football Club, was tragically stabbed and killed in February 2025 after an argument with an unknown man during a match against his Transformer Football Club in the Ghana Premier League. So, you remember this issue?
Yeah. Very, very, very sad times. Very gory story. And you see, it appears to me that the wheels of justice in this country, they grind very slowly. Guess what? Remember the people who were in this issue? Somebody was reported to have escaped from the country.
About 7 people.
Yeah, I remember, including a former minister and a former MP of one of the constituencies there. Some people were purported to have fled the country when these things happened. So far, communication has been cut short. We don't know the latest detail. I think we need to as journalists, we need to follow up on that. We need to hit the GFA and then the Ghana Police Service as well to ask them the latest in terms of that. Where we can also check from the courts the latest time the case was called and maybe read the facts of the case and check how far the case is going. But you see, these are things that happen, and then sometimes, well, let me leave that there. Because a lot of the times, people, if you realize, people now begin to have, people don't want to resort to the law courts to address issues or to seek justice or redress over issues, because they feel that the things run too slowly. And sometimes, in this country, with time, once time passes on an event, the case becomes cold. So in this country, I think we have a lot of court cases. Remember this afternoon, I just reminded you about a billboard I saw of someone, a very popular person in this country, who about less than 12 months ago was in very hot waters over an issue. And today, he's so free, going about his business, bragging. Meanwhile, well,
So literally, that's what happened in February 2025. May his soul rest in perfect peace, Francis Yapo. Let's move on to the second graphic and let's look at some of the things that really happened in 2025. So because of what happened, an executive council approved, or the GFA executive council approved an enhanced safety measures and security protocols for 2025 for the Ghana Premier League and also Division 1 League and everything. Do you think those things have been implemented so far?
But even from then, we've seen things go wrong. This season, I went to a Division 1 match venue, and what I saw at that venue, I won't mention the venue, but what I saw from that venue tells me that our security in this country is a joke. Because you could virtually see a police officer standing, not a police officer, you could see 3 police officers, a district a district commander of an or the commander of the station there at the place, and fans are banging the doors to the dressing room, intimidating the referee, and the police is having none of it. And I'm looking at, and I'm saying this is how it started, wherever the fan died. And we are going back into this. Well, I don't want to go into some of the things because it will be distasteful, because some of the things that led to the death could have been avoidable if the police had done their work earlier. Because something of that nature happened at the Legon Stadium a few months before the Kotoko fan died. And that thing, if it was avoided or actions were taken against the people that were involved, it would have repeated itself at Insuacheman, which would have led to these things. I think in this country, we do not seem to learn from our mistakes. Another problem I also realize is that our communal system makes it very difficult to punish people. Because McKeown, maybe if we've lived in this area, I've known you for 15, 20 years. My family knows your family. You go and do something wrong. I saw you doing it. But it would be difficult for me to come and, if the police even ask me, you are the scene, tell me who did that. If I decide to do the right thing, your family and my family will become enemies for doing the right thing. I think that's a challenge we need to sort out in this country. Because we know the culprits in each of these things, but we allow things to slide.
All right, so the safety measures were brought up so that the clubs will do the right thing, but we don't know whether that one is still being used. But another major thing that happened was that Insuacheman Football Club withdrew from the Ghana Premier League. They withdrew from the Ghana Premier League, and Kofi. Let's move on to the next one. Kofi Adams was appointed as the Minister for Sports and Recreation, and with that one, we saw a lot of brouhaha around it. A lot of people were mentioning Lante Van der Poel. A lot of names came up, and finally, he was the one that was mentioned. So far, so good. Do you think his tenure has been good?
I think initially, first of all, his appointment ticked a lot of boxes. I think it ticked the box of regional balance. Because I think, maybe I might be wrong, but I think he's one of the few people from Oti region to have gotten a ministerial appointment. So it ticked the box of regional balancing. And for me, apart from that, looking at his output of work so far, I think that he has managed to calm down the noise in the system that was associated with sports ministry. And I think he has not been, I don't know the word is acrimonious with the media, but if you compare him to the previous minister, Mustafa Yusuf, Mustafa almost evaded the media space and almost avoided public scrutiny or opening himself up to the media to sort of allow for transparency in his dealings. Remember that there were times where we had gone to AFCON tournaments where in Ghana we are supposed to present a budget before Parliament. Parliament approves the budget before we go to the tournament. But in this country, no budget is presented to Parliament. We present an expenditure list to Parliament, and even sometimes we go and come, and till date we know nothing about expenditure to a tournament. I think this minister came in, his first competitive game for the national team, he didn't do that, but I think subsequently he rectified, provided us with the expenditure, and subsequently provided us the budget of the next game. I think that's good. He has brought in some transparency. I think also he has sort of bridged that gap between the FA and the ministry. And I think he has whipped them into he did the job traditionally of a chief whip. He whipped the FA into line, and now I think they promised to have responded to a statement he made. Till now they never responded, because I think they realized that his statement had resonated with the general clarion call from the Ghanaian populace for accountability and transparency. And so I think on that score, good job done. I think the only problem I have is that they're establishing too many committees. I think yesterday, committee for there will be an athletic seniors championship next year, a committee.
But I think it's important
for the World Cup. We have a interministerial committee. Then we have and another committee to advise him.
For me, I think it's important, even for the least financed sports like badminton. Yeah, I think he's done well because you see him at badminton, you see him at athletics.
I think apart from the fact that yes, he's present.
It's not just events. A blaster.
Yeah. I think even if you invite him for a walk, if he has the time. I've been to I think I have to give it out to him. I have been to Ebri. I went to Ebri to cover an event. He was there. It was just an MP's private initiative. He came to support. I've been to a walk somewhere. He came to support because remember that now there's recreation under the sports ministry. And a couple of times he has been to cycling events, that are traditionally not the big sporting events. I think he's made sure that the lesser known or lesser financed sports are also being given a face, and I think for that he's done very well. I think also we need to credit him for the introduction of the sports fund bill. I think that also helped a lot of the lesser finance sports. I think usually for the blasters, we know that even when the ministry's budget can't cater for them, the government finds a way through its own office of the president expenditure to cater for the national team. So I think it's important for the various other sporting disciplines to also get some funding. So I think all in all, I like the fact that he's opened himself up to the media. Almost every month I see an interview. I think even yesterday I saw an interview he did. If you don't see him on Sottie, he's here on Asempa. He's open, and I think for that I love the fact that he's done so well. I think the only problem was that the Black Queens were the issue with their bonus, and usually we realize that the FA always lays the blame at the doorstep of the ministry. And so then the blame goes to him, and I think that's something that we are going to another WAFCON next year, and I think that once those things have happened 2-3 times, we need to work on that. These things need to be sorted out before they go, such that we don't have a riot from these players or a sit-down strike from them.
So you mentioned the WAFCON, and one important thing that happened was the Black Queens finished third. They won the bronze at the WAFCON in 2025 for the first time in 16 years. So that was an important one. And the Blasters of Ghana also qualified for the FIFA World Cup. That will be coming next year in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. Let's have a look at the next. This one, Rose Yeboah made history by becoming the first Ghanaian athlete in 20 years to reach the final of an individual event at the World Championship in a debut appearance. That was a great
that was big at the World Athletics Championship. I think Ghanaians, in the individual disciplines, or in we had individuals in the various events, I think we didn't perform really well. So I think Rose was one of those people who went all the way to the final in her debut at the World Athletics Championship. I think that was good for her. She has set a new mark for herself and the nation. And I think that will spur her on to achieve even more. She's gathered some important experiences from this championship. Once she is able to do better, she has gained some insight, and I'm sure she'll be able to do better at subsequent events.
All right, so still on athletics, the quartet of Benjamin Azamati, Joseph Paul Amoa, Ibrahim Fuseni, and Rashid Saminu, who finished fourth in the 4x100 meter relay final of the World Athletics Championship, narrowly missing by just 0.04
seconds. So they missed the podium finish. But I think what was important for me was the fact that they set a new national record. And that was huge for me. Remember earlier I spoke about the fact that Saminu also set a new national record in terms of the 100 meters. So he has now overtaken Benjamin Azamati. He is now the new national 100 meters record holder with 9.84 seconds, breaking the previous record of 9.86 seconds. And I think that was huge for him. Then I think in terms of university games, for the first time ever, UDS became champions of the world.
Champions of the world.
Yeah.
University games. Champions of
it was huge. I think the nation when they were going, nobody really knew about it. No publicity. But once they began to win the games,
we started hearing it. We saw the goals.
And their coach was formerly with RT. Remember, I think
and also formerly of Kerala.
Yeah, I think I interviewed him. Yeah, Coach Shaibu.
He's the head of Gusa Games.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I had interviewed him before when he was at RTU at the time. Yeah. And I think kudos to him. He brought his experience to bear, leading professional sides. It clearly showed in his output of work with the UDS team.
All right. And in hockey too, the Ghana Revenue Authority ladies retained their Africa Cup for Club Championship AFCC title in a spectacular fashion, beating the Egyptian class in YFC 3-0 in the final. So in hockey, Ghana also making some history. Let's move on to the next graphic. Let's have a look at what we did in terms of the review of Ghana sports in 2025. Now, Ghana's government officially scrapped the betting tax, which is the 10% withholding tax on winners in April 2025. This one brought a lot of joy to the investors.
However, later, it appeared to me that some members of government were now backtracking on the words. They believe that should have rather not have been abolished, but should have been used as part of the funding for sporting discipline.
I think a few days ago I heard Kofi Annan speaking on it that exactly work some around that.
So now I think what they try to do is not from winning or your earnings from the bet, but from the betting companies itself. So they will try and get money from the betting companies, and then the lotteries and gaming commission, the companies that are under lotteries and gaming commission. Remember that some companies who do gambling even on national TV, but they are not betting companies. So those also, if they can be looked at from the sporting angle as well. And so once the nation taxed them, then we could also use that as a means of generating revenue for the country. So usually with politicians, they make a promise, they deliver. Now alternative ideas on how to, but it's good that they delivered on their promise. Because one of the big reasons why they won the election, because people believe that the country is hard enough, employment opportunities are rare, people hustle their way to find money and try to double money, and then you tax their earnings when you are not delivering a mandate of providing jobs, especially because in your campaigns you always promise jobs. You fail to deliver, I get money through a side hustle, and then when I earn money, then you want to tax that money. No matter whichever government comes in, it will be very difficult to get that done. And usually you pay the price in the next elections. And so I think as a wise government, they capitalized on that, used that for their political capital, and they won the elections. And I think it was one of the easiest promises they could easily fulfill within their first few days. And they did that. So
that happened in 2025. And still in 2025, Ghana performed strongly at the inaugural 2025 African School Games in Algeria, winning 14 medals, 2 gold, 3 silver, 5 bronze across the various sporting disciplines, with badminton and boxing leading their respective disciplines to win. So we announced our presence at that particular games, and we did so for the first time in the lesser known sports or least financed sports. Ghana did so well. Let's move on to the next one. And Ghana under 15 girls won the championship, the African School Games Championship, which was hosted here in Ghana. They beat Uganda by 2-0. And also the men, the Ghana under 15 boys also secured a bronze medal with a 2-1 win over Uganda. It was a very great tournament in here. And also the Ghana Football Association on Thursday, July 31, 2025, announced a strategic and transformative partnership with Adesa Production Limited for the full-scale production, management, and broadcast of the Premier League effective from 2025-2026 season. So the Ghana Premier League had a broadcast rights sponsor. The Ghana Premier League had a broadcast rights sponsor. And do you think that so far they are doing well?
If you compare, usually, you compare where you are coming from to where you are, and I think we do that comparison. First of all, there's a market improvement. I think last season, I don't think the GFA would even admit they had a broadcast partner or a production house that spearheaded their production, and I think it's good that so far I think their production is good. I only think the problem is that now you're facing a situation where because the media house that runs the production also has their own content which it's paid for and they generate a lot of money, it affects the coverage of the game. So as and when, if you realize, sometimes you can go a week where Hearts and Kotoko are not on TV. You can go a game where the big teams are not on TV. And that's problematic because if the league is going to be very much attractive, Hearts and Kotoko, Mediama, Adriana have to be on TV almost every week. And we need to see a lot of the various venues on TV. And I think that's one of the challenges they need to work on. Maybe if they had another channel which could be the home of that could have been good. But I think I like the fact that initially we were at an era where the GPA was about affordability. But now the GPA has moved from affordability to accessibility. So now every TV set you could watch the GPL on. And I think that's good enough to whet up our appetite. Now when our appetite has been sustained for a while, then you can commercialize it and then now people will begin to pay for it. But I think the pool of the various European leagues and foreign leagues is too strong.
Definitely.
It's too strong. Remember, some of these channels are also free to air. The foreign league channels are free to air. So now we are afraid of the dilemma where your favorite Chelsea is on free to air, Kotoko is on free to air, and you have to watch both at the same time. So it's a choice we have to make. And I think so far, in terms of production wise, solid. I think the attendance, the clubs need to work on that, especially Hearts and Kotoko. And then once they improve that, I think we need to look at our strategic communication tools that the clubs are using in order to whet up our appetite. Because if you walk through town, what tells you that there's GPO in this country? Nothing. If a foreigner walks into this country, he enters this thing, nothing tells him there's this country a footballing country.
They've just started, so let's see how it will go.
This is not even on Adisa Productions. It's on the FA actually.
That's what I'm saying. Let's see how it will go. And the president Simon Kreku announced that the winner of the Ghana Premier League will receive 2 million Ghana cedis. It's an improved one, right? Yeah. Yes. Now the Black Searchlights were also eliminated in the quarterfinals of the Under-20 AFCON on penalties by Egypt. I clearly remember that game where we couldn't qualify from that particular. And also, just some few days ago, Parliament passed the sports fan bill. I know that one will work. Let's move on to the next one. Now in boxing, Nigerian boxer Gabriel
Olarewaju
died.
I think I'm good at these Nigerian names.
Yeah, Charlie.
Gabriel Oluwasegun Olarewaju. He died after collapsing.
That story too was a very sad one.
Yeah, and then after he died, then Bahubali also died, and I think
so that was the next one. Ghanaian boxer NS. What's the name?
NS Akushe,
affectionately known as in the ring as Bahubali, also died just 11 days after.
That brings me to something. Do you remember the bout that happened over the weekend? We brought Radio Rahim here last week. The bout that happened. The guy who beat Freezy Magnus, do you remember his name? Worldwide, yeah. Now, after the bout, did you see his what he was doing?
No.
A video surfaced of him sitting with some people instead of seeking medical health care. You know, for boxers, the first 12 hours after a bout is very key for resuscitating your vitals and trying to get you back to full fitness. He was sitting outside with some people.
Chilling.
No, not chilling, but you could tell he was in discomfort. And his team too were not seeking any medical help. And I think that was it. And obviously, where he was headed to, I don't think they were seeking any medical help for him. I think it's something we need to work on. We need to ensure that once our boxers finish their bouts, immediately medical attention must be medical care attention must be given to them, so that some of these situations, if you check after their bout, their activities after, maybe after the bout, immediately, his first 12 to 24 hours are very key in ensuring that he comes out unscathed. And I think that's a loophole or one of the challenges that's affecting our boxing. Even if the person wasn't even fit, apart from the fact that sometimes the person is not fit and he tries to fight because of money, sometimes even the person is fit, after the bout, we must try and ensure that the person seeks proper medical attention. But I think this country take a lot of things for granted. And then when things happen and we take the necessary precautions, then as well, people now try to advocate for using of the human face.
All right, so due to that, the NSA suspended all boxing activities after the tragic death of Bahubali. So we saw that happening for at least for some weeks before they instituted a committee about did the investigations, and they also came to reinstitute boxing in the country. So I don't know whether there is any graphic on what happened again. I think this is the last one. I think we've been able to cover most of the most important activities that happen in 2025. We are moving on to 2026. We are expecting good things in 2026. We are hoping that the Black Stars of Ghana will perform well at the World Cup. The Black Queens at the WAFCON will also do better than they did in this year's WAFCON. Also, the other sporting disciplines will bring more successes to the name of Ghana. Also, our Ghana Premier League will improve. More successes, more nice quality football, nice broadcasting and everything. Remember that this show is also powered by beer and Club Beer. And Club Beer are saying that all you need to do is to get to your people, get some Club Beer for just 10 cedis and also 15 cedis. And it says they've been in the market since 1931. We go for a break. When we come back, we try and read some messages and also pick some calls. Stay some tune.
Be the beer, you go like gum. Man, I'm buying club, okay, for that man. Hey, oh, it's on me. Hey.
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons below 18 years, not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted groundnuts. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back from the break. I'm still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohenba, McKeown. Gone by, we just did a review of the African Cup of Nations. I mean, the first group, a round of games that we're playing, and also a review of what's happened in Ghana sports. We're trying to open the phone lines for you to call if you have anyone you want to wish a Merry Christmas, and also your high moments in Ghana sports, and also the conversations we had on the AFCON. Which country do you think will be able to win the AFCON? By way of update, in that game between Cameroon and also Gabon in the African Cup of Nations, Cameroon are up by a goal to nil against Gabon. So that's what is currently happening in Morocco. But I have a message here. I'll read it for you, and this one is coming from my own Felix Boafo. He says, "I'm watching you guys live. Keep up the good work. Give me a shout out." So shout out to Felix Boafo, Chief, for always doing the watching on Sports World. I don't know if Sottie also has any message in there, but remember, Sports World Council every Wednesday. On Mondays we have the replay of everything that happened in the weekend. We'll come and review it for you. Then on the build up, we'll do a preview of the games upcoming in the weekend. So that's the message for you. So the phone lines are open, and you can call in to share your comments, your opinions, your perspective, any kind of questions you have. Remember, you're in the festive season. You can also wish other people Merry Christmas and everything. I don't know if Sottie has anyone would like to send out a shout out to a Merry Christmas message.
No, I don't have anybody to share a Merry Christmas message to, but I think my friends who this year have told me they have what they've watched me on TV, Shout outs to Enoch. Enoch lives in Tema. He was my mate back in high school. He was my dorm mate in school. Shout outs to Enoch. He also just recently graduated from his university as well. So congrats to you, Enoch. Shout outs to a few of my guys who I was with in Legon. I'll try to remember their names as well. They've sent me a couple of messages a few times that they've been watching me. So I think I also appreciate them. And a shout out to my friend Grace. I told you Grace used to watch our show a lot, especially the replay show on Mondays. She used to send me snaps. So shout out to Richmond and Ramsey. They are my guys who I was with in Legon, and they send me constant messages that they are watching me. So I really much appreciate that. And I also want to especially thank the Asiedu family, Jennifer, Alex, and Mr. Asiedu. This whole year, sometimes they send message or pictures I'm watching, send me videos, evidence that they've been watching me. So I appreciate them all for their constant love. To whoever watched our show, our watch alongs, and send their messages, send their opinions sometimes. This has been a great thank you very much for all your messages. It tells us that you also appreciate our craft. I also thank those who denied us interviews and those who also agreed to do interviews to us. So a special thank you to Tom Seifert and Stefano Cousin for granting us an audience for a new station, and national team coaches who have qualified for AFCON gave us a listening ear. I think we appreciate that. Some of the coaches also decided to harden their hearts. We also appreciate it. This life, we are never entitled. I think the only thing we are entitled to is decency, but entitled to getting anything, no. We appreciate your what word should I use for them? Your decision to not engage with us. Hopefully you agree later. But thank you all for those who took their time. So Chris Katos, Lawrence Nkede, Eddie Sabimana from Rwanda, Amer Fami from Egypt. This year we spoke to a lot of people. Ben Rukoso from South Africa. A whole lot. I'm sure I forgot it. In fact, Favor Itua, who spoke to last week, I think we spoke to a lot of Michael Asaribuedu, Emmanuel Tufo Jr., our good friend Abel Frames, and our other friend we knew, Raymond Ochekumsin. No, the big guys. They really believed in our craft, and then they followed us throughout the journey, offering their insights and knowledge on the game, and it's something we do not take for granted. We really, really, really appreciate.
All right, I don't know whether we have a caller on the line. If not, let me take you through some games that will be played in the African Cup of Nations from Friday. Remember, tomorrow is a holiday. Tomorrow is a holiday for the African Cup of Nations. I know the boys at the back. Your shout outs to come, don't worry. So Angola will play against Zimbabwe on Friday. Then Egypt will play against South Africa. That's a big game. Then Zambia will play against Comoros. And then we move on to Morocco, the host nation, will play against Mali. That's a very big game in there. Then on Saturday, Benin will play against Botswana. Senegal will play against Democratic Republic of Congo, and then Uganda will play against Tanzania. We have Nigeria also versus Tunisia. Then on Sunday, Gabon will play against Mozambique. Yes, a lot of games. Equatorial Guinea will play against Sudan, Kosia Pierre Sudan, that particular. Algeria will play against Burkina Faso. Whoever wins this game will qualify to the next round of the competition. One of the biggest games is that Ivory Coast will also play against the Cameroon. Then on Monday, Angola and Egypt will clash Zimbabwe and South Africa. Then it goes on and on and on and on. And talking about shout-outs, Charlie, shout-outs to the boys at the back.
The boys at the back.
The guys who made.
So shout-outs to let's start with shout-outs to Prince Esiedu, aka.
I don't know any AKA.
Okay. Shouts to Sammy. We'll talk about that. Okay. Parliament will sit tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. We'll have a lot to talk about. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Shouts to Sammy the Slagger. Shouts to Sensational Slagger. Shouts to Sly, our sound guy.
Heredity on the line.
Yeah, he's also a rapper. Shouts to Amos, shouts to Romeo, shouts to Eric, aka, shouts to Francis, shouts to AEC, shouts to Solo. Dennis, Solo, I think good. Collins, shouts to Collins as well. Thank you all for your inputs throughout the year. They've been with us through thick and thin. This what we did watch along that went deep into the night. They were with us, keeping us all throughout.
It wasn't a rosy.
No. There were difficult moments. Yes.
Tried their best.
And I think all in all, we delivered over and beyond, and we could say that, or based upon reflection, we delivered one of the most unique sports shows and in this country. And I think for that we appreciate everyone who helped. Benji as well with all the graphics, and Frank. Benji and Frank as well, delivering all those graphics you see on our screens as well. Benji and Frank also delivered that too. Benji, no matter hard, but we will take you like that. Thank you very much for all you do for us. Shouts to Betway and Club Beer. I think Kivo and all those other brands also sponsor generally, but I think for Sports World, Betway and Club Beer are main sponsors, and also for putting financial resources behind their vision for this show is something we do not toy with, or we do not underappreciate. We really much appreciate you, and hopefully we'll do a lot more to reciprocate that favor you've played there. Hopefully, maybe when the year starts, we'll be coming to you live from some places. If not now, we'll definitely before the next year will end, we'll be coming to you live from certain places, and we'll deliver excellent shows. But thank you for your faith in us.
All right, Sottie, do us the honors of signing us out.
Well, c'est la fin. That's the end. Thank you very much for your time. This is our penultimate. Or is this the ultimate?
I don't know which one.
Maybe this is our penultimate sports show of the year. Thank you very much for your support, your constant viewing, your text, your comments, your reviews, and most importantly, the fact that you spent 2 hours of your time watching us. We appreciate it. Merci beaucoup. À bientôt.